Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome if you're new. So in today's video, we're pretty much going to be talking about weapon tuning. What is weapon tuning? How does it affect the weapon? And what should you be looking for when you're building your class setups? Because I'm sure a lot of you guys have questions and this is something that's new to Call of Duty. We've never had this before where we can literally customize the class setup to however we want it to be. So the possibilities are pretty endless in this year's Call of Duty, which makes it actually pretty cool. So the first thing that you should be asking yourself is, how do I want to play while using this weapon? Am I going to be aggressive? Am I going to be laid back? Am I going to be flanking, etc., etc.? Many different ways you can customize your class setups according to just how you want it to perform. So let's actually go into the firing range. So this is very important. You can go into the firing range. So this is the base weapon with no attachments on it at all. So we're just going to fire it. Okay. So the recoil, it's obviously there. I'm trying to control the vertical recoil here. So there is a bit of kick there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back. All right. And we are actually going to start off with the underbarrel. So you don't always have to start off at the underbarrel. You can start off with whatever attachment you want to. I'm just showing you example purposes of, if you were going to build this attachment to attachment, you should go into the firing range. Test it out, see what needs to be tweaked. The main thing that I do, I look for attachments that have minimal cons. All right. So most of the time it's probably going to be the FSS Shark Fin 9.0, or it's going to be the X10 drop grip. Walking speed, that's not really a big deal as a con. You can always tune it as well. And you do have these other choices here as well with the operator foregrip, the pineapple, etc., etc. So as you see, all these different attachments, they're going to give you different pros and cons. So with the shark fin, let's go ahead and tune this. Another thing that you want to look for is how the tuning affects the bars on the bottom right-hand corner. So we have here on our right-hand side, on the bottom right-hand corner, pretty much everything that is highlighted are the stats that are going to be affected. Now, also, if you take a look at the cons, there's no cons. This is why I like this attachment, because we don't have any cons, yet we're able to add more pros to this attachment. That's what's really nice. That's my thought process behind why I pick certain attachments. Okay, so aiming idle stability is not really the main reason why I went for this attachment. It's because I know that if we tune it, we can get other things as well, like aim down sight speed, aim walking speed, aiming idle stability, or recoil stabilization. For example purposes, if we wanted to make this overall weapon, not the attachment, but the weapon itself, a low recoil weapon. Now before I tune this, take a look at the accuracy, okay? The accuracy is what you want to pay attention to on the bottom right-hand corner. So I'm going to go all the way up on recoil stabilization. Now see how we're starting to see a little bit more green there? And then also aiming idle stability also accounts for accuracy. So keep an eye on that accuracy bar. All right, so see how it went up just a little bit? And it also did give us a minor smidge in our mobility, but that's okay, because this is only one attachment and that's where the other attachments come in, so we can balance it out a little bit more. All right, so now let's move on to the next attachment. Let's go ahead with the muzzle. All right, so for the muzzle, we're looking for a low recoil, right? We're building a low recoil build. Now, 𝗧𝗘𝗥𝗡𝗙 is something that I really like. And let me show you why. So 𝗧𝗘𝗥𝗡𝗙, let's go to the tuning here. Now, 𝗧𝗘𝗥𝗡𝗙, it gives us both horizontal and vertical recoil control. If we're looking for a low recoil build, this has to be a staple in your class setup. Also, there are very minor cons of aim down sight speed as well as aiming stability. However, look at what we have here in our tuning options. We can totally balance this out. All right. So even if we are going for an overall low recoil build, we can absolutely do that. We can just bump this all the way up and then gun kick control all the way to the right. Look what that did to the recoil control. If you guys were paying attention, look at the bar. See how it moves? Going up on recoil stabilization and gun kick control all the way to the right. So this is just a small example of what you can do. However, I'm actually going to help out with the aim down sight speed on the left-hand side here, because I don't want the aim down sight speed to be too slow. Remember, this is an SMG. SMGs are meant to be played up close and personal, and therefore we're going to need some aspect of speed on our side. So that's why we're going to try to make this as balanced as possible, but slightly lean more towards the low recoil end of things. So those are certain things you have to think about as well. It's not just the actual what you're trying to go for, but also outside of that realm of what kind of gun are you working with. All right, next up we have the barrel. So for the barrel choice, again, we're looking for low recoil with minimal cons. Recoil control here, that's what I'm looking for. That's the key word. This one does not have recoil control. All right, and these two, they do not offer recoil control. In fact, these actually hurt your recoil control. So I would probably stay away from these two attachments right here. But if I were to boil it down to either or, it's most likely going to be the Bruen SZ36, because that one is definitely going to give us some recoil control. For the Bruen, we're going to put this on. All right, we're going to go to the tuning. Now let's take a look at the cons here. Aim down sight speed, movement speed, and hip recoil control. Now, we know the main attachments are dominant in recoil control. That is what we have so far. So even if we were to, bump this down here, it wouldn't really matter. It's not like it's going to make our recoil control worse. We're only helping out the aspects of the attachment that are weak. So that would be aim walking speed as well as aim down sight speed. So let's take a look at how this affects our handling. All right, so we do get a little bump there. And if I were to go all the way to the right, our handling does get worse, and this is going to be noticeable. So we want to prioritize the aim down sight speed in the tuning, but as far as attachment wise, we want to prioritize recoil control. So hopefully this is making sense. So the bigger picture is we want a low recoil build. Second priority is going to be our handling and mobility, which is where the tuning comes in. All right, so next up, these are all personal preference. You can use a laser if you want to, but I personally don't like the lasers because it literally exposes your location. Except for this one, you can use the slagger. Oh my god, I'm not even gonna try and say this one, but this one has 0 cons on it, but it only gives you hip recoil control and hip fire accuracy. Even if we were to add this, we still cannot tune it, so I'm just gonna ignore that one for now. And here's the rest of the attachments here for the lasers. Look at how our stats are looking right now. We have 2 attachments to work with left, and our mobility and handling is lacking, but the accuracy and recoil control is very good. All right, and which is what we want. Now let's go ahead and balance this out just a little bit more with our last 2 attachments. For the stock, we have these 3 to choose from. As you move through these 3, it definitely affects the gun's performance in some way, shape, or form. So the only attachment here actually that we can tune is the Ravage. Now the Ravage is a pretty decent attachment in my opinion. It still gives us aiming stability, recoil control, which is what we want. Aiming stability still attributes to recoil control. Now there are a lot of cons here, I know, but if we go into the tuning, we can actually mitigate these negatives. Check how cool this is. Boom. All right, and aim walking speed. Boom. So if you take a look at that, to me that looks pretty balanced looking so far, because we see barely any red on those bars, which is what we want. We want to get it as balanced as possible, but the overall dominant theme of this class setup is recoil control. So on the overall big picture of things, when you back out here, we still have some red in the mobility and handling. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the rear grip here. All right, rear grip. We're looking for mobility and handling. All right, so that would be the Bruen flash grip. It gives us sprint to fire speed as well as aim down sight speed. It is going to affect our recoil control, but not by too much. All right, now once we add this, take a look at that. The red is very minimal now, and we haven't even tuned it yet. Let's go ahead and tune it. All right, so since the recoil control is a con here, this is exactly why you're seeing some small red under the recoil control. So let's see what we can do to mitigate that and make this as balanced as possible. All right, let's go up to recoil steadiness. All right, there you go. And then also the sprint to fire speed, we are going to bump that up just like that. All right, so this looks pretty good to me. I mean, we have our handling pretty much worked out with the sprint to fire speed all the way to the left. And then our recoil control worked out with the recoil steadiness all the way up. So again, just a reminder, if we put this all the way down to aim down sight speed, look at that recoil control, it does get affected. All right. And this is also the con, so that is a reminder to go all the way up on the recoil steadiness. So now let's back out and see how this looks. So this looks pretty good to me. I mean, that's very minimal cons in mobility and handling while still maintaining the overall goal of this gun is accuracy and recoil control. And we got nice range on it as well. So now you can go into the firing range and then test it out, see how you like it. Boom. Oh my goodness, man. This is awesome. Let's go ahead and see if we can get this guy at range. Obviously, you're not supposed to be using this gun at range, but, you know, just for demonstration purposes. Oh, yeah, this feels great. I might actually have to make a video on this. Oh my goodness, guys. Yeah, so the recoil control, definitely there. Let's see the aim down sight speed. Yeah, aim down sight speed is not that bad. This pretty much feels like the base aim down sight speed. And that's what we get when you're mitigating all the negatives on the attachments. You know, you're going into the mindset of the gunsmith of, hey, how do I want to play? Do I want to play aggressive? Do I want to play laid back? Do I want recoil control? You know, do I want fast ADS? So this is just a small example, and I hope that this was clear and helpful for you guys in learning how weapon tuning works, getting inside of my mind of how I make my class setups for you guys. That's the beauty of the gunsmith. No one class setup is the best class setup. You can make the class setup best for you, which is really, really nice about this year's Call of Duty. But anyways, guys, if you guys did enjoy the video, you found it helpful in some way, shape, or form, make sure to leave a like on it. I really appreciate it. And also subscribe if you're new around here to make your way back to the channel. 𝗧𝗘𝗔𝗠 today. Make it official. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good rest of your day.